Alright, so I'm going to start off with my face palettes. This is my face palette drawer, and I haven't really thought about what I want to get rid of yet, so I'm just going to kind of wing it, and hopefully I pick out a lot of products. But there is one thing that I know that I want to get rid of that's actually in my everyday makeup drawer for April from last month. I didn't do one for this month since I am moving, and I didn't think it would make sense since I'm just going to be packing up all my makeup in the next couple days. But there is one thing in here that I couldn't get myself to use, and this is the Tarte Wipeout Face Palette. It's a cream contour and color correcting palette. I have had it, I think, since 2015, so it's been 3 years, and it kind of looks pretty gross, so it's not like very appealing every time I like open it. So I didn't really end up using it in April because I was just nervous about it. I just thought it looked kind of gross, so I'm gonna get rid of it. I still have my Lorac palette still going strong. I think I might get rid of it actually at the end of this week before I move because it's pretty much almost all used up. I don't know, I like being attached to it and using basically the whole thing and hitting pan on all the shades. So I'm going to keep that because you guys know that's my favorite contour palette. Alright, so getting into all of this. So let's start off making a goal to get rid of at least 5, and knowing that I can donate anything that basically is still in really great condition. So that makes it a lot easier for me because I know it's going to go to somebody who's going to use it obviously a lot more than I do. So for sure, let's get rid of this. Too Faced Sweet Peach Glow. So I definitely thought of this palette as good, but it wasn't better than basically all of my other good palettes. So it looks pretty much barely used. I didn't end up using it too much, which is kind of a bummer because it's such a cute palette, but I think the color tones aren't like super amazing on me, especially the bronzer is like very light, so is the blush. So I'm going to be donating that. Let's move. Let's get rid of this. This is from my BoxyCharm. It's like a holographic highlighter kit from Naked Cosmetics. Beautiful shades, but I'm going to wear a holographic highlighter maybe once ever. So I'm probably not really going to wear that again unless I'm going to like a unicorn theme party or something, which I might do. But I'll figure it out when that happens. Oh, I actually think I have another palette in my everyday makeup drawer that I didn't end up using. So I'm totally going to donate this as well. This was in my everyday makeup drawer. It's the Prismatic Highlighting Trio from Kevyn Aucoin. I basically just swatched this palette and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. It's kind of like chunkier highlights and you have to basically apply them with glitter glue or be very specific with them to get them to look really pretty. Next, I have this cream color correcting palette from Pop Beauty. I've had this for about 2 years now. I never reach for it. If I do, it's just because I feel guilty that I have it. Yeah, I definitely rather just use my Benefit products, and I have like brush hairs in there, which kind of looks gross. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm sure it's like basically dried up. It's been forever since I've had it. Let's see what else. Ooh, my Wet n Wild highlighters, I'm definitely going to keep them, but they're basically kind of like those holographic highlighters, so I definitely don't need more of those. Let's see. Oh, back here. Okay, so this is part of a trio set from Kevyn Aucoin. I'm going to get rid of these. These are actually, this is a blush little palette. I've never used it. I'm not planning on using it, so I'm going to donate that, and that is very unused, so that's a good thing. Anything that's like really lightly used, I'm just like, let's donate it. So this is an eyeshadow palette. I've never even used this. I think I've just swatched it. So let's donate that too. The other part of the trio is like my favorite other than my Lorac kit. I basically just use these two for contouring. So the other parts can definitely go to Project Beauty Share. Then I'm also going to pass along this Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette. I loved it for a while and then I basically moved on from it. It's still in really good condition, so I'm going to donate that as well. Let's see. I don't really wear this, but I like having Mary Luminizer, and I think this is the only Mary Luminizer I have left. I had a full size, I think, at one point. Maybe I do have a full size. If I find that I have a full size, I will donate this too. Alright, so I just turned on my ring light, so maybe the lighting's going to change a little bit, but I think it looks a lot better now. My e.l.f. palettes, I have a couple. The bronzer palette, let me see. I just really don't see myself using this. I have a whole drawer of bronzers and like other bronzer palettes. I mean, I've had it for a while. I think I've used it twice, and let's donate it. I don't use my Smashbox contour kit enough, but I actually do like it. This Tarte palette is pretty old. I'm gonna hang on to it. Yeah, it's definitely not something I would donate because I think it's super used up. Yeah. My highlighter and everything is super used up in here. It's, yeah, definitely not something I would donate, and I don't want to just toss it either. So I can just kind of hang on to it and see if I end up using up more of it. Anything that is like kind of like my first ever palettes, I don't want to get rid of, like my Anastasia contour kit. Let's maybe get rid of this one. I got this in a BoxyCharm a couple months ago. The highlighter in here is so beautiful, but in this palette I would honestly only wear the highlighter. What's supposed to be a bronzer is like a coppery eyeshadow color, and then that blush is incredibly orange and super pigmented, so I don't want to keep it around just to have the highlighter when it's pretty much still new. So I'm going to donate that one as well. I'm going to hang on to this Smashbox palette for now. I might end up donating it later. I think I donated the other one, but if I think I could actually pass this on to somebody if I really want to get rid of it. I mean, I like it a lot, but I just think there's other things that I really like a lot too, and somebody would really enjoy that. So I think that's gonna be it. Let me show you guys everything. Oh, here is the other Smashbox palette. I have both of them. Well, I'm gonna keep them for now because I do like them. I just have so many things that I like, so it's hard because I'm just trying to rank like my products in my collection, and I think that might be it. All right, so already my face palettes look a lot less cluttered in my drawer, which makes me happy. And then here we have all of the palettes that are going to be donated. We have 8 palettes. Some of them are actually eyeshadow palettes that were in my face palette drawer, but yeah, we have 8 palettes here. And then I'm just gonna toss the cream contour palettes that are not like acceptable for donation. These two, the Pop Beauty one and the Tarte one. Let's move into some eyeshadows. All right, so all of my eyeshadows that I use the most are in this drawer, and I just popped all my ColourPop palettes back in here. They were in my everyday makeup drawer just because I've been using them a lot, but I just put them in here for reference. I honestly don't see myself getting rid of any of these because this is my drawer full of favorite palettes, but I just want to kind of do a quick scan of everything. Yeah, I'm not going to get rid of any of those. This is basically, if I got rid of all of my other palettes, if I had to, I'd be okay because these are all of my favorites. So I'm definitely going to keep everything in here for now. Basically, everything is less than a year old other than my Modern Renaissance palette, which is super used up anyways. So yeah, we're not gonna get rid of any of the eyeshadows in there, but moving into this drawer. All right, so here is the drawer of the eyeshadows I use less than my main eyeshadows, if that makes sense. And this is my bed, in case you guys are wondering, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm moving to a little bit bigger space so I don't have to work right next to my bed. But anyways, let's get into, okay, I think I know a couple already that I want to declutter. So I definitely want to get rid of this quad from Dosa Colors. This is the Katie and Desi quad. I can definitely donate this. It's like barely used. I got it over the summer. I got it the day that it launched. It's beautiful. It's like all of my favorite eyeshadow colors, but I have them in a million other collections, and it's not like my absolute favorite formulas either. I basically bought the whole collection just to support Katie and Desi, and I like it, but someone else will like it a lot better. That's basically my motto with this whole declutter, especially for things that I could donate, is if somebody else can like it a lot more than I can, then they should have it. And then next, this is the Pure Cosmetics Soiree Diaries. It's a really pretty palette, really neutral palette. It has some really pretty like shimmer colors, but that basically describes like every palette in my collection. Like these shades, the copper and this purpley taupey shade, are beautiful, but I have them in a million other palettes, so I'm gonna end up donating that one too. There are some palettes in here that I know I want to get rid of, but I'm not gonna get rid of them yet because I'm doing a review of a bunch of palettes, like a roundup of basically every palette I've gotten so far this year or this season. The BoxyCharm Pure palette, as soon as I make that video, I am donating this. I just used it like 2 or 3 times, wasn't impressed with it. Same thing with the Back Talk palette. Naked Heat, I definitely want to keep. I don't wear it as much as I want to, but I like it a lot. Smashbox, maybe I want to get rid of this one. So this is the palette I know I really like. I really like the formula, the looks that I get with it, but I don't think I've touched this palette maybe since like September, so I'm obviously not going to miss it, and I could do the same eye looks with the Naked Heat basically with this palette. So I'm going to donate this one because I don't need a million warm brown and red palettes. I'm going to donate this e.l.f. Prism palette. I think I've used it like 2 or 3 times. It's just an all shimmer palette. Let's see. I love the Balm Nude Beach palette. This is my favorite palette from the Balm. It's something that I could end up hitting pan on. Persona Cosmetics, I love this palette. I just used it this weekend. And this palette from the Balm I like, and I don't use it enough, but I like it, so let me get back to it maybe. Here we have another e.l.f. Prism eyeshadow palette that I'm going to donate as well. And then the Too Faced Peanut Butter palette. I just don't see myself using this palette anymore. Like, I love it in a nostalgic way of like the memory of owning it and it being my favorite palette. But that was a while ago, so I think I'm going to put this one in the donation pile as well. So I was pretty attached to that palette for a while, but I don't reach for it. I don't see myself reaching for it, so I'm going to pass it along. And then I'm going to get rid of the e.l.f. Mad for Matte 2 palette. This is actually one of my favorite palettes from e.l.f., but they've just released a bunch of new palettes, and they've sent me some new palettes too, so I really don't need everything. And of course I do have these shades like in my Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. It's basically the same color scheme, so I'm not missing out on any of the colors, and it was an affordable palette too. I might get rid of this Anastasia Prism palette. Like, I feel bad because I'm still waiting for that time where I want to have like a really creative month and use all of these color combinations that I normally don't use altogether. I don't use it, but I like the idea of it, which is hard. And I do like the formula. That palette isn't like a grab and go palette to me, so that's why I don't use it. So I don't know. So we'll hang on to that one for now. And then I think I'm going to hang on to the Meet Matte palette from the Balm, just because I don't use it because I have so many palettes, but I don't dislike it at all. So I want to hang on to it and see if I end up using it maybe throughout the summer, and if I don't, then I'll pass it along. I think that's gonna be it for this drawer. I have one more drawer of eyeshadows, and I have a feeling I'm gonna get rid of a lot of palettes from there. Alright, so my last drawer is my eyeshadows I use the least, and I'm ready to part ways with the majority of these. So I've already decided I'm gonna get rid of this Makeup Geek palette. It's a gorgeous palette, but I'm not gonna miss it, basically. The shade Grandstand is so beautiful, but I have a lot of beautiful palettes, so we're gonna get rid of that. I don't know about the Carly Bible palette. I kind of want to hang on to it. It wasn't like super expensive either, so I can get rid of it, and it's still like in really great shape. But let's see how many palettes I declutter. Too Faced Bonbons. I'm never gonna use this. Let me get rid of it. My Morphe palettes, I just hang on to for the sake of comparison videos. I have this random palette in here. It's a concealer palette, so I basically just had no other place to put it. It's still pretty much new, if not new, but I've had it for a couple years now, and I'm never gonna have a use for it, so I'm gonna get rid of that as well. Let's see. Definitely my Gwen Stefani palette. I'm gonna pass that along. This is actually a really pretty palette from Crown. It's a rose gold palette. The formula is actually pretty nice, and I wore this palette for a bit. It's basically like the same idea as a Morphe palette, but palettes like this with like the packaging like this don't really inspire me. Even though I love all the colors, I obviously don't reach for that palette, so I'm going to pass that along. The Naked palette, the original one, I actually only wore this 2 or 3 times. Urban Decay sent this to me for Valentine's Day, and then I used it for a video, and I just don't ever plan on wearing it, so it's still in super new condition. I'm going to donate that one. Too Faced Peanut Butter Honey, let me go ahead and donate this. I honestly wore it like 2 or 3 times. I planned on returning it, and then I missed the date to return it, and I don't know if I have the receipt still, but I remember I was so bummed I didn't get a chance to return it, so let me go ahead and donate that one. Let's get rid of this little e.l.f. palette. I don't know how this even made its way in here. And with that, let's keep the Carly Bible palette. So then some of my palettes that are older, like I have some palettes in here that I never really use, but this Anastasia palette I need to start using again. It's what I wore on my wedding day, the shade Pink Champagne, best eyeshadow in the world. Some of these shades are like my holy grail eyeshadows. I just don't ever wear them. I don't know why. So I just need to put this back in an everyday makeup drawer this summer. It has a lot of really pretty summery shades. I have some ColourPop singles. I'm not really going to reach for them, but I do like them. So I think now that this space is more cleared up, a lot of products aren't going to be lost in my collection. So that's all of the palettes that I'm going to declutter. Let me show you guys everything that we're getting rid of and donating. Alright, so the only products that I'm going to be tossing from my collection are these 3 cream palettes, especially the Tarte palette is super used up and really old. All of these are pretty old. And like the formulas aren't the same and nobody else should probably use them. It's not sanitary. So I'm going to be tossing these 3, and then everything else I'm either going to be donating to Project Beauty Share. Basically almost everything. I might just kind of fish through this and see if I want to gift anybody like maybe 1 or 2 of these palettes, but basically everything's going to go to donation for Project Beauty Share. It's a ton of palettes. So that is going to be everything I'm getting rid of in this video. I'm pretty happy with it. It makes me feel a lot better to have things that I don't use really in not in my collection anymore, and that they can go to people that will use them a lot more. Alright guys, so that's going to be everything for this declutter and donation video. If you have any questions about donating to Project Beauty Share, I will leave their website in my description box. On their site they talk about like how to donate products, what they really recommend donating, what condition, and everything like that. Their address so you can ship products to them like I'm going to be doing. It's all pretty straightforward. It's really great organization, so definitely check it out if you guys are interested. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.